I'd like to thank the EET for inviting me here. I want to talk about the opportunities for mobile broadband. I'll also touch briefly on what Darko has mentioned about it is a very difficult choice that regulators face, the choice between broadcasting and mobile broadband. But at a high level, we believe that there's enough spectrum to support both, and that's the message we would like to carry forward. So, very similar to the EBC, this is us, the GSMA. We're the global trade association for mobile services, with over 750 mobile operators in over 200 countries. I'd like to focus on the benefits of mobile broadband, what it has to offer. As I mentioned, broadcasters, they have a legitimate use of the spectrum. It's valuable for social cohesion, but there has to be a balance struck between the two, between two competing services. We think that the allocation that was made at the WRC, which is 790 to 862, as previous speakers have mentioned, which is being harmonised in the CPT, that's less than 20% of this spectrum. And we think that small slice of spectrum will offer very significant benefits for mobile broadband penetration and broadband penetration generally. So, how will it promote broadband connectivity to allow all Greek citizens to take part in the knowledge-based economy? This is the current situation in Greece that I found. This is from the 13th report of the European Commission. It shows that Greece is down on this chart. There's been a lot of effort in LLU. Many countries that have implemented local loop unbundling have found it very difficult. There may be particular reasons in Greece. Length of copper loop, the fact that local exchanges might be quite small. This might make it difficult to roll out broadband. It's obviously very useful to keep focusing on local loop unbundling to give broadband, but the other way is to look at alternative delivery platforms, and mobile broadband we think is a very viable technology, and it will offer the best choice, the best way of delivering mobile broadband to many consumers, particularly in rural areas. These are just a couple of quotes from the European Commission talking about LTE, long-term evolution. This is the next development in mobile broadband. The industry foresees about 2 billion broadband users by 2012. That's two-thirds using mobile broadband. So it really isn't a niche product anymore. It's going to be a mass-market product, and it's really something which can offer a lot of benefits. As Minister Stylianides was mentioned this morning, the importance of broadband for people to take part in the knowledge-based economy, but also balancing, as Mrs. Batseli said, social cohesion. We see mobile broadband and broadband generally as another delivery platform for content that provides social cohesion. For example, Google now, Google's advertising revenues are perhaps as big as many broadcasters' advertising revenues in many countries. There's also lots of source of local content. For example, YouTube, I think, accounts for 40% of video traffic on the internet. There's a YouTube Greece where there's lots of local content. People are expressing their sort of artistic expression. So the internet is a way of enhancing and enriching social cohesion. It allows people to produce more content which is tailored to local needs. So public broadcasting isn't the only delivery mechanism, and also public broadcasting can be delivered over many types of networks, satellite, cable, and now the internet. So what's the opportunity for mobile broadband? Well, it's ideal because it's cost effective. The fact is that the cell sizes are 80–90% larger. That means that the cost of covering rural areas is perhaps only 30% or less. So that is the driver for it. Ideally, yes, at some point capacity becomes an issue. But what these spectrum bands allow an operator to do are deploy mobile networks, mobile broadband networks, which give coverage virtually ubiquitously, the same sort of coverage that people get with their voice 2G networks. Then as capacity becomes an issue, you can provide fill-in hotspots with other bands. So it allows you to delay borrowing. Now, when you're deploying a mobile network in a country, or the sort of the size of Greece, that might be, I don't know, 1 billion, 2 billion euros. If you can defer half of that for 3, 4, 5, 6 years, that is a big saving, particularly in today's climate. So there really is a strong demand for this. Greece is a very beautiful country. I saw it coming over in the plane. I've been here a few times before, but it is very mountainous. It has very difficult terrain to cover with radio networks. So I think that, given the terrain of Greece and the fact that we have 44% of the population living in what might be termed sparsely dense, sparsely populated areas, UHF has a very strong business case. We've also seen the fact that the US had an auction for similar bands last March. That raised about $20 billion, mostly paid by mobile operators, although there were some innovative television services that bid for their spectrum. So this spectrum would be made available if, for example, in the UK discussing auction, France are discussing auction. That doesn't mean that mobile operators will get that spectrum. They will simply have a chance to compete with others. For example, in the States, MediaFlow, which is a television technology which is developed by Qualcomm, won national channels. So this is an opportunity for people to show their expressions of interest, to, as they say, put their money where their mouth is. Greece currently has 3.5 million wideband CDMA users, so that's the first generation of 3G. It offers reasonable data rates, but it is slightly lower than the sort of ADSL that people have come to expect, the fixed broadband. So now 1.6 million HSPA. That offers data rates currently of